I couldn't hear a word you said.
Has its own court report. How do we proceed and why and how? Mr. Naraka?
Yeah. Now, problem with my microphone, hold on.
I know it's the one. Vice Chairman Dumas, can you mute your phone? I understand with the IT staff that you can.
Okay, what do you address?
IT staff will be calling you, Vice Chairman Dumas, in 2 seconds to help you out.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Naraka, are you speaking? Because I don't hear you.
Yes.
Still don't hear you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Ms. Lopez is the official court reporter. Her transcript is going to be the official transcript of the evening. I was unaware that another court reporter was lined up, but even if I was aware, it's not the norm.
I apologize, but this is my first special meeting before the board, and as you know, I represent multiple clients who would like to see a copy of the transcript. My court reporter, if you can provide us with a copy of the court report, a copy of the transcript before the next meeting, and of course provide my advocate, same with the applicant, as long as we can all have the copy of the transcript before the next meeting. If the board does pick December 14th, I think, or 7th, they were picking, which is only a week away. So
I'm sorry, you're picking what date? Now, I would like to ask a question. You're picking what date? December 14th?
Should this matter not be reached in completion tonight, is there another date that the board has scheduled this matter to continue?
It would not be discussed right now because December 14th is out of the question. It's not going to happen. I would have to look at my calendar. Let's see how this meeting goes. And with the chairman's permission and the attorney and the planner, we can come up with a date that would be sufficient. Remember that we just went through Thanksgiving. We're going back starting tomorrow in the city of Paterson with COVID, with limited days and limited time. So we're back to where we started, but the court reporter will do the minutes, absolutely, but not within a week's time.
We have to get background. We're gonna have to mute everybody's mic and then just let whoever's talking because there's background noise.
Let IT staff finish what he's doing and I'll return. Is that okay, Chairman? Do you hear anything? Any noises now?
No.
Okay, Mr. Naraka, could begin again?
So, Mr. Sheehan, arrangements can be made for the official transcript with Ms. Lopez. Of course, if you have a court reporter and for your internal use, you'd like your court reporter to, provide you a transcript on an expedited basis, obviously that's your prerogative. Two things, a few points. First point being, that we have already too many people part of this Zoom meeting. Your court reporter should just watch like everybody else from the outside. They don't need to be part of the meeting. Just like the public. The second point is the official transcript will be our court reporter's transcript. Her transcript's not gonna be recognized. But of course, if you want to, do it after your own internal use.
Well, I was unaware of any rulings by a court to say that if you have a licensed court reporter, that your transcript won't be recognized. I do understand, and I apologize. I don't want to take away the business from a court reporter. I understand, and I've been an attorney for a long time. But I did not know that there would be a court reporter here that could furnish us with the transcript before the next meeting, and that's why I did it, because I wasn't sure.
I understand that, but there is.
All right, so my court reporter can leave and charge an appearance fee. As long as we understand that no other hearing can occur before I have a transcript, I have no problem with that, sir.
That is fine with me.
Maggie, please stop, sir. That has to be worked out with the court reporter. Transcripts are not provided as part of the hearing. You have to make arrangements.
I have to pay her separately. Correct.
And it's on to be an expedited basis. But that's between you.
And Maggie can provide her information so we don't stop the meeting any longer.
That's fine.
Okay, later, not tonight. Tomorrow, the next day, doesn't matter, Maggie. Thank you.
Excuse me, this is Laura Carucci. I'm the court reporter that Mr. Seeker's hired, so I will then sign off the meeting. Thank you.
Yes, Laura, thank you.
I'd like to ask, Mr. Hodges, Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
You are on twice, that's why I have an echo. I need you to log off and get back on, cause you got on twice, so that's why I have this background noise.
Okay.
You see that? So either log off for one or come back in and, shut off completely so we can begin this meeting. And I apologize for the delay, everyone. Thank you for your patience.
We got better now?
Yes, let me check with IT. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Paterson Board of Adjustment meeting of Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via webinar session, virtual meeting. Chairman Thaxton, please ask us to have the flag salute. Chairman Thaxton. Chairman Thaxton? One moment. Chairman Thaxton, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am here.
I cannot hear you, sir. Chairman Thaxton, hit *6 on your cell phone, please. *6.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, thank you. We can begin with the flag salute. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meeting Law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location included in the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the city clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. Chairman Thaxton, may I call the roll, please?
Yes.
Thank you. One moment, please. Commissioners, Vice Chairman Dumas, Vice Chairwoman Dumas. Okay, Commissioner Dumas, are you there, ma'am? Please unmute yourself. *6 on your phone. I'll continue. Commissioner Furman.
Present.
Commissioner Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Levine.
Here.
Commissioner Minaldo.
I'm here, Maggie.
Commissioner Levine. Commissioner Rohim.
Here.
Commissioner Watkins.
Present.
Commissioner Levine.
You cannot hear me, Maggie?
I hear you now, very faint, very far away, but I did hear you.
Why?
I don't know either, but I do hear. As long as I hear you, you're fine.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Vice Chairman, Chairwoman Dumas, can you hear me? Okay, Chairman Thaxton.
Present.
Chairwoman Dumas, if you can hit *6 on your cell phone, you should be able to unmute yourself. I will check with IT staff and return while I read the agenda. Give me one moment, please. We will continue with the meeting. I'll read the agenda into the record, Chairman, while we get Vice Chairwoman Dumas on the line. So let me read the agenda into the record. This is the meeting of Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via webinar session, virtual meeting. Notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act addressing effect of coronavirus measures on the next public meeting, consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of Executive Order Number 107 given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020 by Governor Philip D. Murphy. The Board of Adjustment of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10-4-8, commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey, in-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for public reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 1-973-321-1579. That is 973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-0071. That is 711-680-0071, Board of Adjustment special meeting on Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. One moment, please. The number to call in for the meeting ID number has been altered. The number is 711-680. Yes, I see. Hold on a moment. I'm sorry. Hold on, please. Hello, I apologize for the interruption, but I was notified by IT that it has changed. Calling 973-321-1579. Mr. LaRocca, please write this down. 711-680-0001. That's 711-680-0001. Board of Adjustment special meeting of Monday, November 30th at 7:30 p.m. on the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov.gov. And following the email link for the meeting, www.patersonnj.gov/Board of Adjustment. On Monday, November 30th, there will be a special meeting of the Paterson Board of Adjustment, which will be held at 7:30 p.m. via webinar session. The following matter will be heard. West File Waste Services rescheduled from November 9th, 2020 meeting. The address is 20-34 Shady Street, Lot 1801 and Lot 1. This application is to park waste management vehicles and waste management containers. There is an existing office space on the site. The applicant has not provided the number of spaces that are available. This is for use, vote, and site plan in an I-1 zone. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Mr. Constantine Stamos, Dean Stamos on behalf of the applicant, Westfall Waste Management Services.
Thank you. Is there an attorney here for any objectors on this case?
Yes, Nicholas G. Sekas of the Law Group, Sekas Law Group, appearing on behalf of J&K Ingredients, Broussard Industries, Nutty Naturals Corporation, ROL Ron Foods, KB Foods Incorporated, KB Foods Enterprises, Carabas Realty, Livonia LLC, ESM Realty, Kill Street Realty, Wood Street Realty, and Lima of Paterson.
Thank you very much. Please advise all and anyone who is listening who is an objector or an interested party to mute yourself. Do not speak out of term. You will be called by name and we can handle it that way. The attorney will take charge of that. So I will now hand over this meeting to our chairman, Gerald Thaxton. Chairman Thaxton, you may proceed.
The attorney for the property on Shady Street, how many objectors do you plan on calling, sir?
You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, my apologies. Mr. Chairman, I think you're asking me if, how many witnesses I will have this evening?
Yes.
Yeah, we have presently 3 witnesses. I have the applicant, who's the operator of the business. We have a professional engineer who prepared the site plans, and finally our professional planner.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to make sure that Chairwoman, Vice Chairwoman Dumas is on and can give me her attendance. Chairwoman, are you there?
I'm here.
Thank you. Your attendance is, yes, you are present. Thank you very much for joining our meeting. Continue, Chairman.
All right. I understand you said that you had three witnesses yourself, 2 players.
No, just to clarify for you, maybe I wasn't clear. So it's the applicant, who the operator of the business, Mr. Michael Westfall. Our professional engineer from Negley Engineering is Anthony Curris. And then we will have John McDonough, who is our professional planner.
you know or you might not know, our cutoff time is at 10, so if this meeting has to go for another special meeting, would you agree to it?
I guess we'll cross that bridge when we have to, but, you know, I think that will probably end up happening, but, you know, we'd certainly like to get as far as we can.
All right, I'm just letting you know that our cutoff time is at 10.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, you can call your first witness.
Mr. Chairman, before Mr. Stiles, I don't want to interrupt his application.
No.
We had spoken today with Mr. LaRocca, the board's attorney, that we wanted to put up some jurisdictional objections on the record before the application begins, as a matter of course, to preserve the record. And if I may,
Mr. LaRocca?
Yes, Chairman. I advised him that he was able to do so before, and in addition, I believe the applicant's attorney has an application as well, and he would like to make a record. So we'll start with the objector's jurisdictional position.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board, Ms. Vega, and Mr. LaRocca, thank you so much for giving me the floor. As I indicated, I represent a number of different businesses that are in the area that conduct business in the Bunker Hill Special Improvement District. I've been retained since September 24th, 2020, or before that, to review the application and specifically the public notice. We have reviewed the public notice and made objections in writing a letter on September 24th that the notice that has been provided does not provide ample a description of the nature of the property, the light industrial zone that is currently zoned for, and the name of the number of bulk variances that are also requested to be continued. Furthermore, the application does not specify or state that they are seeking design waivers and a waiver from the completeness site plan ordinance of the city of Paterson. And the site plan ordinance has specific requirements that indicate when an application specifically for use variance and a continuation of bulk variance is heard. And I have no notice, and there's nothing in the notice that says that the applicant is seeking waiver of the site plan conditions as per the city ordinance, and it's not even listed by number, as the other ordinances are not. Furthermore, we believe that the application is not complete, and I touched on it in my notice. We believe the design waivers that the applicant requires for this use variance and bulk variances continuation are not set forth. Just for by way of example, the ordinance that is at issue requires, and the state ordinance, NJSA 1347.3, it says that the application does not meet the requirements of site plan approval because it says the requirements include the location of drawings, parking layout with dimensions. There's no dimensions as indicated by your planner on this site plan. Pedestrian circulations, drainage facilities, detention basins, stormwater detention, because you're next to the Passaic River and you're in floodplain zone. Floor plans and interior layout of the maintenance and repair shop and garage vehicles, as well as the office building, if that's going to change or remain the same. And I don't think they're repairing trucks right now on the premises. We also don't have landscaping signs, lighting, grading details, and as the containers constitute, they're not going to be removable, they're going to be sitting there. But they also require DEP approval because it's in a flood zone, and my engineer will testify to that. Furthermore, I will let the applicant give me a courtesy because he first raised the DEP argument. Rather than respond to it, I will give Mr. Stamos the courtesy of making his argument on the DEP, but we will have answered today because we received a letter this morning by 3 o'clock. We answered it and we provided the data with our position on the question as to whether or not this board has to listen, can waive the use variance environmental concerns. But I will let the applicant speak first.
Well, before you speak, Mr. Stamos, before you speak on the DEP issue, if you want to just address the notice issue.
Sure. As to the notice issue, Mr. Segas is referring to a notice from, I think, the first notice.
The number, this note.
Okay. So, again, in terms of the notice contains all required information, required in the statute. And it has the property, identifies it appropriately, the address, the block and lot, the nature of the relief, the date, time, location of the hearing. We do state the requisite variance relief in our notice. We do have the standard catch-all that says that we would request any and all variances, waivers, as deemed required by the board.
Mr. Stamos, I don't mean to cut you off, but to make it simple, I reviewed it. I found it to be satisfactory. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't really matter what I find, right? It's your application, and if the issue's raised on appeal later on, it'll be a court that is reviewing it. Are you comfortable with the notice?
Yes, I'll tell you that I've never had an application with an objector that they ever agreed with the notice, so yes, I'm comfortable.
You're comfortable proceeding?
That's correct, yes.
So, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Chairman, the notice issue is a non-issue for tonight. I looked at it, it was satisfactory, it did contain the detail Mr. Stamos indicated. If in fact that issue, if that is incorrect and the notice is not sufficient, if the applicant was at peril later on and he's comfortable to proceed, I'm comfortable to proceed. Mr. Stamos, you raised an issue about jurisdiction due to DEP. You want to address that?
Correct, thank you. So yes, so I raised the point is just kind of historically, waste management companies were always, they were governed by county boards of health and even subject to municipal regulation. I guess so we brought up that in 1970 or 71 or so, the state enacted the Solid Waste Management Act and also the Solid Waste Utilities Control Act, which are intended to really regulate not only landfills, as is in Mr. Sekas' letter, but it is meant to be all-encompassing and to regulate the operations and the requirements of waste management companies. So again, yes, we did cite to case law, and it does primarily address the issue of landfills and that requirement and the regulation by the DEP. But again, these companies, such as my client, file for their certificate of public convenience and necessity every year, reviewed by DEP, and they have to comply with specific and very extensive standards in terms of their operation, in terms of any dissemination of odors or environmental concerns. So they're regulated already. And again, the case law, again, even though it may comply or apply to facilities such as landfills and whatnot, it does stand for the premise, though, that there can't be duplicative regulation on these carters and other collection companies because they're already under significant regulation.
So, before you jump in, I got a couple questions. First of all, Mr. Stamos, so you said primarily, right? It's not primarily. The cases, and I looked at them, they do talk about landfills, right? They don't talk about parking lots for sure, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, I do understand that your client is under DEP regulation, and we're not seeking to duplicate that. Having said that, they're not under DEP regulation for this particular site, are they?
No, like we wouldn't have to gain their approval to locate here.
But then how is it not within our jurisdiction if the DEP is not overseeing this location and this particular use that you're seeking to do at this location?
I'm saying because they regulate the operation, the maintenance, and everything they have to do in terms of maintaining their vehicles and how they operate. That issue per se, to me, we look at it as we're parking trucks on this site. Okay?
Do they regulate the site, the Wasteville, the other sites?
I'm
Do
sorry.
they regulate, when they regulate the operation, do they regulate those other sites?
Such as, like, you mean other, like our yard?
Yeah.
Well, we're certainly subject to inspection at any time, so.
And you initially have to apply or get some sort of permission from the DP for those particular sites.
So I'll let my client, if anything, address that, but, we have our certificate to operate, and I think they allow you to find appropriate locations.
I get that, but the certificate to operate is for that site, correct?
No, I don't think so. I think the certificate applies to Westfall Waste Management as an operator, and they have to then comply with all the regulations, really, no matter where they operate.
But if the yard is moved to a different location, because you have that certificate that you got at the first location, you wouldn't have to, it just transfers? You don't have
Correct, it's that issue, that number that we have, I believe it's 2177, applies to Westfall Waste Management, wherever they're operating. Again, I think what I'm trying to say is those regulations are not, hey, you better cooperate and do what you have to do at this location. It's at all times, wherever you are, they're regulated in terms of, like I said, those perceived health and environmental concerns. They have to comply with the regulations by DEP. And I think compliance with those standards is a per se, trying to say, it's like, that just means it complies with the law. If there's no specific allegation or knowledge of any violation of those regulations, we can only be held to those standards.
Oh, and I get that, and I'm not suggesting not being held to standards. What I'm trying to understand is, if a particular site is approved, inspected, and okayed for the use, and if that is the case, does any accessory use or any new location then automatically get waived, and it's okay? Without that application with the DEP?
Marco, I think, excuse me, Mr. Stamos, Gary Paterson, the planner, Paterson. I think if the application was to be approved, at the very least, you would need a letter from DEP of no further action. If there is an issue, then DEP will cite the issue. If not, they'll give a letter saying there are no issues and no further action is necessary from DEP. So you have to, if it is approved before any CO or processes continue, they would need some sort of letter. That is my understanding normally. How it works.
Understood, that would be a condition, DEP approval, but it would need approval.
Yes, yeah, okay, so it's on a sign off at the very least.
But we don't have that sign off for this location or approval for this location at this time is what I'm saying.
No, we don't, but he hasn't been approved, that's why. So
I understand.
For the horse, yeah.
I understand that, but then the argument is the same. But then the next question I have is, forget about waste for a moment, right? There's health issues, is there not, just with trucks in general, Mr. Stamos? Like emissions?
Like all the trucks that all these food suppliers have moving their,
Correct. School buses moving little kids,
yeah.
buses moving senior citizens, but trucks in general have their own health concerns separate and apart from waste, is what I'm asking you, correct?
Well, again, it's an industrial zone, so we're not gonna have,
That's not what I
electric
asked.
vehicle.
That's not what I asked you, because you're indicating the board cannot consider health issues. I'm asking you, if we take out waste, are you arguing that the board still can't even consider health issues by virtue of trucks? Is it preempted because of the waste? That's what I'm asking you. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you, if you were here for school bus parking,
Correct.
would the board be able to consider emissions from the buses, like the health issues?
So from the buses. Sure, you wanna consider that, again, every commercial business has trucks, sure.
Some more than others. I'm asking, the emissions of a truck could be considered taken out in a different scenario, correct?
Excuse me?
Sure.
Hey, good evening, how are you, board
Mike,
member Doyle? Can I just jump in for a minute, or? Can you hear me?
I just want to talk to your attorney.
Amanda?
Probably a little premature, yeah, hold on. So,
So, Mr. Stamos, so then what I'm saying to you is, and again, I'm just asking the question. Assuming that these trucks have emissions, is your position that the board cannot even consider those normal truck emissions and environmental concerns because they're preempted by the cases you cited?
so, again, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say, because again, every property up and down probably has more vehicles than my client does. Even a permitted use, do we make them come in and talk about perceived health concerns of emissions from, again, Contos Foods probably has hundreds of trucks that deliver their materials, all over, so, I'm, again, trying to preemptively understanding what the concern is, or, everyone gets crazy, it's garbage trucks. It's eight compactor trucks we're talking about, not 800. So if we're gonna talk about emissions from trucks, I would have to, open every transcript that they've ever had in the area and see if there's ever been an issue with emissions from trucks. So, yeah, conceptually, certainly didn't ask about, what the health concern is over 35 or so trucks.
Okay, Mr. Seekis, I apologize, you could be heard.
Okay, here I am. Thank you. Mr. Stamos, you finished?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first issue that I have to say is that the letter of November 30th caught me off guard because it was sent today. And it really speaks about an issue of preemption. I think counsel for the board hit it correctly. The board is not preempted, as the applicant would let, applicant's attorney is suggesting. The board is not seeking to regulate solid waste or transfer of refuse, because that is not part of this application. The board is completely within its rights under well-established case law to regulate the use, especially if there is a use variance required and it's not permitted. In fact, on August 7th, 2020, Glenn Turi, the zoning officer, indicated that this is a light industrial zone and this is not a permitted use. That does not permit it. In fact, it is a consideration of the town to consider health, economic stability, growth, protection from blight, and non-industrial encroachment right in the statute. Further, case law provides that, especially in the case of Fairlawn, Cole versus Fairlawn, that the applicant will need to show that this site is particularly fitted for that particular use that he wants to change it. Just because he has a license to operate waste does not give him carte blanche to tell Paterson and the zoning board that it can do what it wants to do because it has a solid waste facility license. The board does not have jurisdiction to argue about its license, but I don't think that's the issue before the board tonight. The statute talks about 9 JAC 7:2614 said a solid waste facility or landfill. This is permitted a solid waste facility at which solid waste is deposited on or into the land as for the purpose of permanent disposal for storage of time exceeding 6 months. I don't think they're gonna store, on one of the people said they're not storing solid waste, they're not transferring solid waste, they're storing vehicles. Additionally, the cases that the applicant cited are really talking about, there's attempts to regulate existing landfill sites and transfer station sites. Neither of this site is zoned for by the city planners or by the city zoning officer. So I think that the bootstrap argument, respectfully, does not hold water, and the board can consider everything: health, public safety, blight, economic stability. The board can make all those considerations and is not preempted by the fact that the applicant, and is respectful, is a licensed holder. But the board can consider, as per the land use statute, and it should consider, the environmental impact on the surrounding neighbors and the community, because this is not an approved site for the transportation of vehicles and containers being stored, even if the allocations are empty and repairs of vehicles. And that is why the zoning officer was completely within his rights to issue the letter of denial and request that his applicant show proofs to the board that it warrants a use variance. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Black.
You're very welcome. Mr. Paterson, do you have anything you want to add?
Mr. Walker, in my report, I also cited a use variance. So it is a use variance. It's not a permitted use. It is a use variance.
All right, Mr. Samuels, you have made your record. If the application doesn't go your way, you do have those arguments, but we're going to proceed.
Okay, very good. All right, so should you just get right into it?
I'll call you first witness. Let's want to give an opening.
Sure, yes. So, again, we're here tonight on the application of Westfall Waste Management Services. We are a contract purchaser of the property, so obviously as part of our due diligence process, this is where we sought approval to locate at this facility, or at this property. As many of you may know, this subject property has a classic towing yard. You're going to hear testimony from my client here as to really the large size of this property. I believe it's approximately 3 acres. It currently houses, at any time from 300 to 400 cars on the site. So the property has an extreme capacity for this type of use and parking of vehicles, and that's really going to continue. Is it a different type of vehicle? Yes, it is. This is, again, we think they're commercial vehicles. The fact that they're used in the operation and in waste management, I think it's really of real significance in the sense of locating at the property, because as we've stated several times and will be testified to, is that the vehicles leave empty and will come back empty. And you're going to hear to the extent of the number of trucks. My client has the nature of the business and how he intends to operate. So yeah, it's going to be our position that there'll be really little change to what's existing, and quite frankly, there'll be testimony from our planner that there's far more intensive uses actually closer to the complaining adjacent property owners as well. So with that, I call my first witness, who's Mr. Michael Westfall, who's the owner of the business.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Can you please raise your right hand? You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your full name for the record.
Michael Westfall?
Thank you.
Okay. So you are, I guess is the owner with your family of Westfall Waste Management Services?
Yes, my wife and I are partners, 50-50.
Okay. So in day-to-day operations, you're the president and you run the operations?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And currently you operate out of Norwood, New Jersey, 14 J Street?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And how would you say, obviously, we're looking to go to a larger property. Is that property a tight fit, let's just say, for your operations?
We have outgrew that property, especially in the recent months with the COVID situation. We're working tirelessly. We currently serve 3 municipalities in the state of New Jersey. So, for the most part, the garbage has been up 20% at the curb. So the trucks have been working extremely hard.
Okay, and so you mentioned you have three municipal contracts that
Yes.
you collect? Okay.
Yes.
And how many, well, first let's stick with the property in Norwood. Your physical building that's on site it's deficient, is it not?
Yes, it's deficient for our use. The building is only 30 by 30. I've been there since 2009 when I only started with 1 truck and a handful of containers. The business has grown since then. We have been looking, under every rock and stone to get a piece of property, and so far this has been the best, and especially logistically where it is, helps us the most.
What are the 3 municipalities?
The borough, can I speak?
Yeah.
I said Mr. Stamos, sorry. The borough of Westwood, the borough of Montvale, and the borough of Oradell. It's about 26,000 residents. And there's about 4 years left on each contract. Montvale, we just started 2 months ago, September 1st.
Okay, so I think you had said your building is only 900 square feet, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So that poses significant physical constraints for you in terms of materials and activity on site, correct?
Yes, we can no longer continue to work out of the location we're working out of.
Okay.
If it rains or we have inclement weather, my workers cannot work, they go home for the day. It puts us behind on safety and maintenance to run our day-to-day operation.
Yeah. So just for a second, jumping ahead, the existing building on site at 22nd Street is over 9,000 square feet? Is that correct?
Yes, it's more than enough already.
So that would be significant improvement to what you currently have.
Yes, it would be, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we provide on-site employee parking for the trucks. It has the secure office for the office staff, and then as well as a maintenance garage for the repair and welding of containers and general maintenance on a vehicle.
And you also certainly have enough room to store any of materials that you may currently have in the exterior or around the
Yes,
yard.
absolutely. We have an excess of snow plows. We had 2 contracts with the DOT. We plowed the State Route Highway Route 4 and Route 46. A lot of emergency work. We just recently helped out a fire in the city of Paterson 2 Sundays ago. We're on call, sometimes 24 hours to provide these services. So we have, extra snow plows hanging around. We have raw material, which is flat steel, tubular steel, and that goes to repair and maintain all of our trucks and containers.
Yeah. Similarly, tires and things of that nature, you would now keep indoors.
Indoors, correct, yes.
Okay. All right, so just to kind of go back, you said, when did you start the business? So you said 2009?
I started my business in 2009. It was a stock purchase from Amco Removal Inc., DBA Ippolito Container Service. And then that was October 1st, 2009.
Okay. And you mentioned, so I think you started with 1 truck. How can you tell us what's your fleet right now? What do you have?
Currently we have 24 vehicles. If I have it correct, I'm sorry, I broke out the numbers while we were talking back and forth, coming to the emission concerns and everything. But we have a fleet of, I believe it's 15 roll-offs and 8 packers. I have to double check my numbers if you apologize. Do you want me to do that real quick?
So that would be 23?
It's 24 total. One is a service truck, which is a utility vehicle used to do on-call maintenance or emergency road repair if there was a tire blowout or anything like that. And then there would be eight rear load compaction garbage trucks. Yes, 14 roll-offs, 8 rear load garbage trucks, and 1 service vehicle.
Okay. So the 8 packers, the rear, those are your municipal, regular household, garbage pickup, right?
Yes, that's correct. Those trucks leave the garage in the morning, the facility. They go out, they complete a municipal route, which consists of household municipal trash considered type 10 in the NJDEP regulations. And then we also pick up recyclables, which is either commingled and cardboard containers. And then also we pick up vegetative waste. We actually dump most of the material in the city of Paterson now. We utilize coastal distribution where we bring thousands of tons of construction and demolition debris that's already taxed by the town. In the borough of Oradell, there's a contract with Covanta over on Fulton Street, and also the Westwood, we have a contract with a partner hauler, Gator Recycling on East Railway Avenue. So most of the material is being disposed of in the city of Paterson, and that's why this property is so advantageous for us to be there, because some of my employees who live in the area of, Passaic County or wherever they be, they commute all the way to Norwood, they pick up a truck there, they go collect on their route, they dump in Paterson, they're driving back to Norwood, adding a lot of man hours onto our day.
Okay, so just to segue into that, well, first, you heard me reference the certificate that you have from DEP. Can you just elaborate on that, please?
Yes, and I apologize for jumping in too early. I just wanted to clarify a few things with the DEP. So as far as the DEP regulation, obviously state has the most authority, and then it trickles down to county enforcement, and then if necessary, back to the municipal level. Every year we have to do an A901 update, as well as a utility report. In those reports, we have to specify exactly where our operations haul out of, any storage yards, and any facilities that we might utilize. So they are upon inspection. If we are governed by the NJDEP and we have a set of bylaws, and in the bylaws that we've already discussed, I don't know if you have presented them tonight, but we're already regulated as to how we haul the trash, where we can dump it legally, and how long the trash can sit on the truck in event of a repair or an emergency breakdown. So we're already governed by the DEP, and therefore the site would be registered, where if there was a complaint that we weren't being up to par as a hauler and not being a responsible hauler, then there could be a complaint can be filed at the state level, the county level, as well as the municipal.
So just to clarify, again, under those DEP regulations, you're obligated to do your route and then dump off any collection or load that you have prior to returning to the yard?
Yes, absolutely. The trucks go out, they collect the trash, it needs to be dumped. Most of it is under a joint account where that municipality owns that material. They're responsible for disposal fees. So the truck has to leave the municipality and drive directly to the disposal site, not making any other sites. This way, preventing a truck going into a different municipality, picking up excess of tons. It has to be dumped immediately. In the event of a breakdown, emergency repair, there's a chance the truck could be towed to an off-site location or fixed, but it has to be dumped within 24 hours.
Okay. So, interesting enough, if you're driving in Passaic County or that area and you broke down, it's possible you could, one of your trucks could have been towed to the current property as classic towing, right?
Yes, in the due diligence that we did with the records we got from Classic Towing, and we got a chance to review it in our period, I believe he is permitted, what do you say? And upon the review of his records, he's permitted to tow loaded garbage trucks, loaded roll-up trucks, roll-up boxes, sometimes they're illegally parked. Sometimes there's an event where a dumpster is dropped illegally, the customer states they have a permit, they never follow the permitting process. In the event, sometimes we have to pick up a dumpster after hours, which is an emergency pickup.
So then going to your, just segue to the roll-off part. So you have 14 roll-off trucks that deliver your containers to the locations?
Yeah, some of them are spares, most of them work every day. We have over 600 roll-off boxes currently in circulation. As the repair and maintenance, since we are heavily regulated under the state and county enforcement, any dumpsters that are rotted out over a quarter, the size of a quarter, the currency quarter, it's deemed to be out of service, it needs to be repaired. These dumpsters take a lot of abuse on jobs, they get, hit with construction equipment, or if they're just sitting, sometimes they rot out, so that's why we have to maintain this equipment so thoroughly and keep on top of it, because we're heavily regulated.
Okay, and primarily those containers, what type of debris are you, is collected, or is it a variation, or?
Yeah, it's a variation of construction and demolition debris, which can be anything from a job site cleanup, wood, shrubs, construction and demolition debris, which is considered ID 13C, and then also concrete, asphalt, dirt. We utilize all the, whether it's a rail facility or direct landfill, any approved facility in the tri-state area.
Okay, and then you have to deliver it to the appropriate facility, right?
Yes, the trucks leave, they perform a service, they drop off open-top roll-off containers, customers load them on their job site, and then we transport them from point A, which is the job site, to point B is an approved disposal facility, whether it's a rock quarry that repurposes the concrete for a recycled aggregate for new construction projects, or if it's going to be a rail transfer where we dump at a transfer station, like I talked about before already, one at Paterson, a few miles away from the site now, and then it goes to a landfill on a rail car.
Okay, and I think you mentioned how many containers, did you mention how many you have?
We have about
in circulation. Okay.
Yeah, as far as
for the most part,
there's about 6 that are out of service, that are in for repair.
okay. So, it's not like you don't anticipate having hundreds of containers. They're almost always coming in and out, correct?
No, for the most part, we maintain a regular flow of containers coming in. We have a set schedule. We're normally a 24-hour service. That's where we've gone to, grow our business and take so much pride in our customer service level. We're normally within 24 hours. We kind of have a rule in our office. If it's before 11 a.m. in the same county, we'll do it same-day service. So we try and keep on top of our containers. So normally there's an even amount of deliveries, removals, and switches in my business. So it works out. In the event maybe around the holidays, people don't want them out of their driveway, but we're in the COVID crisis right now and we're out of inventory. We're scrambling just to repair our containers as much as possible.
Okay. So obviously you're going, your current property, do you know what the square footage or acreage is of your property, site in Norwood is?
To the best of my knowledge, the building is 30 by 30, which is 900 square feet, correct?
Yeah.
And it's just less of 3/4 of an acre.
Okay. So we're going to be going from 3/4 of an acre or so to basically 2.77 acres, right?
Yes.
And obviously, when you're looking for a property, this property really checks off a lot of boxes, right? You have a large building for the work you need to do in your office space, is that correct?
Yes, I believe this property checks off all boxes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 100% paved, which I know is a requirement in the city of Paterson. It's 100% fenced in. It has security cameras, and it has 24-hour lighting on site now.
Okay, and you're obviously gonna maintain that, and if anything needs to be increased or brought up to compliance, with any municipal ordinance, you certainly have no objection to that, is that correct?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. And it kind of, in your operation for the last 11 years, have you ever had complaints from any, neighbors or, within Norwood or any other municipality that you operated in as to, again, any environmental or health concerns, complaints of that nature?
No, we have not. I haven't had an odor complaint. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I haven't had an odor complaint, a noise complaint, or any other complaints to my knowledge.
You never had, vermin or rodents or anything like that be an issue?
Absolutely not. The trucks are swept out regularly. The compactor trucks have an ejector blade that pushes all the trash out. The seal has to be wiped clean with a broom, and weekly the bodies are shoveled out if any debris gets between the blade or the body. It's more of a safety concern as far as a fire or causing an issue with the truck, on our end, more than, even the road. It needs to be addressed and it has to be maintained regularly. And this is done at the disposal facility. They have a designated area where the truck can go in. The driver has to lock out because he's going into a confined space. And there's a broom and a shovel where they clean the entire body out.
Okay, great. So that's not done on site, that's done, you said, at the disposal facility?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Okay, great.
More for safety concerns because they have all the appropriate safety measures to take care of something like that. As well as it should be done there.
Okay. And in terms of your anticipated operation there, obviously you're looking forward to being part of the community. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm extremely looking forward to it. I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for myself and my company, as well as, being in a better area where we can obtain, getting employees easier. We have a tough time getting employees to commute to Norwood. We're going to be hiring welders and maintenance mechanics, and hopefully hiring Paterson employees. Some of my employees currently live in Paterson, so I know it's going to be a big relief for them to be closer to a place of work as well. I'm very familiar with the site and the location. Like I said, we utilize the 3 facilities in Paterson now. We utilize Hale Quarry, which is right up the road. My trucks travel frequently through the area. We utilize United Metal, numerous times per week. And it's going to streamline the operation because, the hours in some of the dump facilities, I'll be able to utilize them, and then the commute at the end of the day will be a lot less. They can come in, empty, park, and we can call it a day, instead of commuting all the way back to Norwood, New Jersey.
And your trucks would operate now at designated roadways that you follow or use for getting your trucks around?
Yeah, so we have a special dispatch program which is used just for our business, and it utilizes all county truck routes, and they have the ability to use that. All customers are geocoded, and they can use that GPS technology to travel the roads. Worries about weight restrictions, height restrictions, width restrictions, it covers all bases.
Okay. So, you're not gonna be taking shortcuts through, more like any kind of neighborhoods or, one neighborhood as opposed to another, you're sticking with the county roadways.
They call it, I don't know the exact term, but it's a profiling term, using, maybe a different neighborhood to cut through.
So, yeah, but you have your county roadways and you utilize a specific program, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And, just kind of to get specific, leaving, the property here within, the industrial park, there are multiple routes, are there not? For you
Yes.
to get to where you're going? And like you said, there's also, I think you mentioned you utilize United Scrapyard?
Yeah, we utilize Coastal Distribution on 4th Avenue, which is the Tunnel Hill Partners, now owned by McQuarrie. Their hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we also utilize United Scrap Metal, and their hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we utilize Covanta in Paterson, which is on Fulton and Straight Street. There's 2 facilities there. Their hours are from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Gator Recycling on East Railway Avenue, which is 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. as well.
Okay. And just give us kind of again, you mentioned you have the 23 to 24 trucks. Just like a day in the business, so if you just kind of can explain to us, do they go out at 5, 6 in the morning?
Yeah, so I can tell you exactly. The garbage trucks leave around 5:30 a.m. There's a handful of garbage trucks. I can tell you the count, but I do not want to be limited to it. But currently, there's 4 garbage trucks that go out daily, perform their duties, and come back empty. And there's about 11 roll-up trucks that go out daily, perform their duties, and come back. Most of the time, the roll-up trucks do not come back to the yard as frequent because they're going from job to job. The way we dispatch efficiently to make the business profitable, they go and pick up a dumpster, dump it, deliver it, switch it. We try to avoid the truck coming back to the yard unless he's empty for the day and he needs to place a container down where we don't have another location for it. As far as the garbage trucks, they normally go out, they perform their duties at 5:30 to 6 a.m. in the morning. They collect their scheduled routes, they empty out and return anywhere from 2 to 4 p.m.
Okay. So from a standpoint of trucks coming and going, we would call traffic generation. You're saying I guess even we call it the maximum, if all 8 of your Packer trucks leave, right? They leave in the morning and come back in the afternoon?
Yes, that's correct.
Or not? Okay.
Leave once and come back once.
Okay. And in terms of the roll-off trucks, that's basically the same, but with an occasional truck that may or may not come back early.
Yes, exactly.
So you're really looking at a maximum of 23, 24 trips leaving in the morning, and then the same number returning.
Yes.
Give or take 1 or 2.
Yes.
Okay. And how many employees do you have? Or how many employees will come to the yard every day?
We have a total of 34 employees. Only the drivers come, and especially under COVID now, we have 1 office personnel who's working remotely, kind of doing a hybrid. All other personnel who work in the municipalities are meeting in the municipalities, working on the truck, and leaving. We're trying not to commingle the drivers and the rear load helpers to help spread the coronavirus. These guys are under a lot of pressure and stress. Like I said, the garbage is up at 20% at the curb, so their job is extremely demanding. So just the drivers are taking the trucks from the location. So if there was 24 trucks going out, there'd be 24 employees, plus about 6 office to mechanics staff.
Okay. And just again, we mentioned COVID. I mean, you haven't really stopped at all, right? In terms of the business, you're an essential service.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the construction boom going on, it seems like a lot of people are moving out of New York and everybody's home looking at their houses, whether they're putting a new roof on, a deck, a pool. Our services have been needed extremely lately.
Okay. And just, I know you mentioned you assisted as part of a fire. There was in Paterson. I mean, you also were really heavily involved in the was it the Markow paper or, yeah,
It's 2 years ago, yeah. We hauled over 8,000 that were out of there, correct. That was done in seven days. We did just over 35 loads per day.
oh, okay. And,
We were also on site during the emergency when they had the fire, moving materials from the back of the building to the front of the building to just, make sure the fire is extinguished. We had a truck there.
and so, just kind of to go back to, the DEP regulations, just make sure we covered it, is, I think you mentioned, again, if approved, you said there is a process for you to notify?
Yes, we have 2 reports. There's an annual report, an annual utility update, and we have to notify any of the storage yards or the maintenance facilities that we're occupying, as well as the physical areas.
Okay. Now, are you subject to inspection, whether it happens or not, are you subject to it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So for instance, anything we said here tonight, if we were not complying by, the DEP has an anonymous tip line, and also the county has, for the best of my knowledge, in speaking with the enforcement officers, they normally educate the county enforcement level so they can, be a second arm for the DEP, as well as a revenue stream.
Yeah. Now, I know, obviously, we mentioned that, the trucks come and go empty. Obviously, that's always the case, we said with the Packer trucks, but, occasionally, I think, like you said, you have a 24-hour service with the containers, right? So there may come a time where you have nowhere. If someone wants, if I call you and say, hey, get this container out of my driveway, I'm having a family over tomorrow, you may have a container come back with some type of debris.
Well, really, to be honest with you, Dean, we try to avoid issues like that. The main concern is whether, a police department calls us or there's a roadway emergency or anything like that where the dumpster has to either be removed or it's getting impounded. We try to avoid those situations, and moving to this property is going to streamline our operation, utilizing all facilities in the area. And that's why it's, that's the main reason of moving to this location for us, because the trucks are going to be able to empty their debris and park in a timely fashion. It's going to really streamline our operation.
Okay. And just from your knowledge of the property and our kind of your analysis and whether to move forward, with the transaction, this property certainly affords you the opportunity to run your business the right way.
Absolutely.
So you'll have, whereas right now you may be crammed and, unable to, store materials and the like, the way you like this property, including the building and the lot, allows you to do that, right?
Yeah, for instance, this morning we had a truck break down, at 7 a.m. this morning, and we had to wait for the rain to clear to be able to maintain the truck. My mechanic is working outside. It's not a way I want to run my business and conduct as an operator, especially for my employees. I know I'm better for this, and that's why I'm looking for a property that I'm able to maintain and store and legally and worry about, the safety of my employees. I mean, right now it takes us longer to move trucks around to get a truck in front of the garage to maintain it than it even takes to maintain the vehicle. And if there's inclement weather, we cannot take care of it.
But it is best, Mr. Paparazzi, if the public can see the plan. I know it's only one page. Is there any way that we can adjust this for the public to see it and view it?
I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you.
Mr. Paparazzi.
Maggie, I think that that site plan that you're referring to was done by Neglia. I guess he can share it when his testimony comes up. I think he's going to be testifying on it, so it's probably best for Anthony Juris to share that. I guess when his testimony is.
Oh, that's fine, thank you, because I did have someone from the public ask if I can post the plan, but that's fine, thank you very much, sorry for the interruption.
No problem. Okay. Let me just take a few seconds to review my notes. I believe we've touched on everything. Michael, I don't know if there's anything you feel like you may want to add in terms of, your testimony?
No, I think that'll be all right now.
Okay. So that will just conclude our direct testimony from, Mr. Westfall. If the board has any questions.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Mr. Westfall, Gary Paterson, planner for the city. What are the hours of operation, not now, but if this application were to be approved at this site, what would the hours of operation be?
I would have to say the normal hours of operation are from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. There are instances when we're under the state of, state of emergency where we have to work 24 hours to clean up, whether we have a Hurricane Sandy, there's a snow event where we're hauling snow, or God forbid the trucks are used for, a cleanup of a fire or anything like that.
Following emergencies, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yes.
And that would be what, Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday, Monday to Sunday?
Saturday we only work till 1 p.m.
So Monday to Friday and 5 a.m. to 1 on Saturday.
Yes.
And you said that, now I'm not talking about the truck drivers, the office staff is only 6 people. Is that what your testimony was earlier?
Yes, there's my wife, there's 2 dispatchers, a secretary, and then, what's that, 4? 1, 2, and 2 mechanics.
Okay, now speaking of the mechanics, your application says it's only to park vehicles and containers. Now, are you going to do mechanic work as well?
I believe Dean, you have that there?
No, the application does specifically state the existing building will be used for the company offices and repair to vehicles. Okay.
Okay, well then, Mr. Stamos, that's why I asked for architectural plans to see where the work is going to be done. Because there is some code issues for mechanical work.
Any changes though? Yeah.
Well, but I don't know what the building did before. Okay, if the building did before did some mechanic work and was in violation, we're trying to stop that now. For example, the Paterson code for flammable liquids is supposed to be stored underground. Now, if there's not a spot for that, then there has to be testimony and some architectural showing or engineering showing where the flammable materials are going to be. That's number one. There are other issues, and secondly, mechanic work could only be done inside. I hope you know that, Mr. Westfall. So I wasn't sure that there was going to be mechanic work, but only any mechanical work could only be done indoors and not out in the lot. So, and that's even the smallest of mechanical work. Oil changes or anything has to be done inside the building. And I certainly would like to see, Mr. Stamos, where the work is being done. Now, I have on the footprint for the site plan, the footprint says 9,300 square feet. Now, there's 2 floors, so that would amount to 18,660 square feet. Now, if you use the parking analysis for the city of Paterson for a business office, then you need 75 spaces just to handle the business, just to handle that office. I understand that Mr. Westfall only needs 6 people, but if the building that size requires 75 parking spaces just for the building. Now,
That's if it's all office space. Is it not?
okay, well, that's why I asked for a plan, so I could give that calculation. You refused to give me a plan, but that's why I asked for it. Not only because of the mechanic work, but to calculate the parking analysis. Now, I could calculate the parking analysis based on the mechanical work and the office, but I had to have something. And I don't. So, that's one of the other reasons why I asked for it. Now, also, Mr. Westfall, the application that I thought I read, that the containers and the trucks will be empty. But then I heard Mr. Stamos say that there might be a chance when trucks come back and there's gonna be garbage in it.
No, I only asked the question, I didn't say that would be the case, I was asking the question, if a container, never said the garbage, never said the trucks. I said, is there a possibility the container may come back? And Mr. Westfall's testimony was that only in the event of, like an emergency or police issue, but that they try and avoid ever having any container. So I'm sorry if that was I confused you with that, so.
Okay, but okay. I have a little, experience with a transfer station. So let's say, Mr. Westfall, your garbage truck is coming back, and it broke down, or there was construction, or bad weather, detours, and it doesn't make it to the, transfer station. To dump it. Let's say the transfer station closes at 5 o'clock, and he doesn't make it there at 5 o'clock due to those circumstances. Where does he go? Where does he go?
He would have to bring the load in and have to be dumped within 24 hours under my bylaws and the DEP.
That's right, that's what I'm saying. Mr. Stamos, that's what I'm saying. There's a chance that you're gonna be bringing in garbage and containers. And I know it's only overnight, because you only have the 24 hours, but if they come in at 6 o'clock at night, you can leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's only 12 hours, but they're gonna be there overnight.
And so Russell, how often does that happen? If we may just ask a follow-up question.
It
Is that a rare event?
No, it's very, very rare. And most of the trucks are new and under warranty, they'll get towed back to the dealership.
But it's not all for Mr. Westfall for the trucks breaking down. It could be, like I said, a road is closed, or a detour, or snow, and or an accident, and you're out with the truck, in front of the truck, and he's delayed an hour, 2 hours, and he doesn't get to the transfer station. And quite frankly, Mr. Westfall and Mr. Stamos, there's no way for the city of Paterson to police that. You know, I mean, so quite frankly, you know, that's a hard thing, you know. I would have liked to have a second spot for that, because there was no way for the city to police whether or not, you know, trucks are coming in, or they are in, and I know you have to get rid of them in 24 hours, but the nature of the area, we're trying to eliminate that completely. And that's why, you know, I think it would have been you know, nice if there was a second spot, but.
We do utilize a second container yard in a different location.
Well, so is your testimony that, if on this site, no containers or no garbage trucks will come in with any, with a full load or half load or any load, and come in as the application says empty, and they'll go to another site if they were detained or broke down, or road conditions caused them to not get to the transfer station. So is that your testimony, Mr. Westfall, that nothing will come in?
Is that limited to the household collections or the construction and demolition? Whereas in the event that there's an emergency on the street, where just construction and demolition material, or is it more of the closed compaction food waste vehicles?
Well, either one. What is your testimony? Is either one of those going to be stored there or none?
The storage vehicles that collect the household trash will never come back loaded. In the event of an emergency where something had to be impounded or taken off the street, there's a possibility of a construction load, a few times a year in the event. But we haven't finished the route since I started.
But if the transfer station closes, you can bring a loaded garbage truck someplace else?
We could utilize another facility. We have facilities that we deal with that operate 24 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Okay, so the testimony is that then, other than construction material, no garbage truck will come in with any garbage.
Yes, it will not be brought in loaded as a garbage truck, and in the event of a breakdown, it will be towed to a repair facility, not to our facility.
Okay. All right, there still is that issue with the parking that, I saw the site plan which called for 25, trucks and, 30, containers. And he has the parking for the trucks, the people who come in with their cars to take the trucks. And you have, another 5 or 6, for the office. But the office can hold, again, without a plan, based on, just my calculation at an office, because I wasn't privy to the fact that there was going to be mechanic work, but, that's 75 spaces. That's still a large deficit.
The first floor is mainly mechanic space, and there's a small office upstairs, as well as a driver training room that's been set up in the past. Excuse me, as a boat licensing facility.
Okay, I to the board, Mr. Chairman, that if the application is approved, I need to see something as far as architectural on the layout of the building. I would like to see where the work is being done, the storage of flammable liquids, and the office space to determine the number of parking spaces that are required for the application. Maybe not Mr. Westfall's business, but for the application itself. That's all I have for Mr. Westfall, Mr. Chairman. If the commissioners have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Thank you.
Any commissioners have questions?
Through the chair, Commissioner Watkins. Hi, Mr. Westfall. My question to you is, what do you use to keep rodents off your property?
We hire a pest control company that visits the site regularly.
Okay. Thank you. Don't mind me asking, how often do you do that?
I believe it's 1 time per month. I could be mistaken. We have a contract with Titan Pest Control and Closer.
Can you please spell Titan? It's Titan? Pest
Yes.
control?
Titan, Titan.
Thank you.
Mr. Westfall, this is Gary Paparosi again. Being that you're backing up to the river, that might have to be increased.
I would be more than happy to do whatever the town requires or suggests for the rodent control. We don't have an issue now, so that could be why it's not as frequent. But if it's daily, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever the case may be, we'd be more than happy to have it. We obviously, it's a health concern for ourselves, so we don't want to have any issues on our own.
Would this be a condition or just a question, Mr. Gary Paparazzi?
Maggie, when we get to that point, I'll make that suggestion, either after a vote or when it comes close to that time. Okay.
I'm just trying to write everything down and just keeping up with everyone. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. If I may, just in terms of a follow-up on that question, we would certainly stipulate that if the board would act favorably upon the application, we would coordinate with maybe the city's Board of Health as to the frequency that they may want to recommend.
Any other commissioners? Okay, Mr. Locker, could you open it up to the public, please?
Before we open it up to the public, I think we should allow Mr. Seekis to ask his questions.
Yes, Mr. LeBlanc, Mr. Chairman, I would like to note that, for the record, I raised the issue of completeness because the planner did request plans before this application was even heard. And I think that was in his report that I saw that was dated sometime in October. I don't know why, now we're in December, on the eve of December, why the applicant hasn't provided those plans, especially since the board needs to look and evaluate this application, especially parking, which is central. And I don't recall respectfully this application being deemed complete. So I don't know how we can even get to this issue of having more witnesses testify. My experts are struggling because of the lack of plans on the site plan. So we don't have enough information to even prepare objections, because we're learning them as we speak, and I don't think that's the way it goes. Respectfully, I think he's got to submit the plans before his application, or before the experts testify, especially an engineer, and especially a planner. Those people have to have that data and that information available for the board and the public and your experts. So I would say that this application is not complete.
Again, if I may just respond to that, it's never a objector's counsel's duty or responsibility to deem an application complete and ready for hearing. That's for the board and its staff. So they've decided to move forward. And again, if we deem it that, hey, you know what, we're going to supply for the next meeting, we're going to supply the architecturals or plans that Mr. Paparazzi is requesting, we may in fact do that.
That's very nice. Maybe you'll have to provide your witnesses once again for cross-examination, because I don't have the benefits of the plans. So if you're witnesses going to testify tonight, then we may have more questions if the plans are introduced, and if the person who prepares the plans, whether it be architectural or engineering. So,
absolutely, and that would only be fair. Certainly, we would make them available.
Hold on, Mr. Paparazzi?
There's someone interrupting this meeting, please mute your mic.
Mr. Paparazzi? Do we still have him, or do we lose him?
He's on.
I'm sorry.
There you go. What is your position in terms of proceeding this evening?
Well, Mr. LaRocca, I did mention, to Mr. Stamos, he prepared, his original application was an older survey prepared by Rig Associates, which included lots number 1 and 2. And I said, there are no building plans, I don't know what you're doing, and he said, we're just doing everything the same. And I said, you know what, I mean, I needed something. And they prepared, you know, and again, it's called a site plan, but it's really not a site plan. And this is in no way any negative remark to Neglia Engineering. I'm sure they did what they had to do in the time that they had to do it. But as Mr. Seekis had alluded to, the site plan, would show a little bit of everything. What was there before was illegal in every way possible. Okay, I couldn't get onto the site, but it was like a junkyard. Cars were bumper to bumper, trucks, whatever. The gate was locked when I made my inspection, so I couldn't get inside the building to see that there was mechanical areas there for mechanic work. So I did what I could, but quite frankly, and this is all thanks to Neglia Engineering. They said the footprint of the building is 9,300 square feet, which means 2 stories, 18,660, which means you need 75 parking spaces. This is part of the process I needed, Mr. LaRocca, and I told Mr. Stamos that in order to cite all the variances that were required. One of them is parking.
Not to cut you off, I get all that. We received some information. Mr. Stamos is indicating to you that after this evening, if there's other information you need or other documents, we'll provide it to you then. What I'm trying to figure out is that acceptable with what you have now, and the understanding that if you need other stuff before what appears to be at least one more meeting, are you comfortable in proceeding?
Well, for the fact that there are objectors, and not only objectors, professional objectors, I thought that the information that I requested would be necessary. I tried to go with what was provided at the time, only because the city wanted to have the application heard, so I said, okay, but I didn't know that there would be objecting engineers, objecting planners, objecting attorneys, and maybe objecting public. So,
well, at this moment, we don't have an engineer testifying. We don't have a planner or an objector's engineer. We have the applicant. We can get through certainly the applicant, correct?
oh well, yeah, we certainly could get through the applicant. the engineer is here and he prepared, you know, a site plan, which is like a mini site plan, just to show where the containers are going and where the garbage trucks are going. But quite frankly, it should have been a survey too, because the original survey said lot 1 and lot 2.
Right.
Now they only have lot 1. And when I made my inspection, there was a concrete barrier dividing the bus company with this lot 1. But I don't know if that concrete barrier was along the property line.
Alright, so
There's a lot of things.
Alright, so listen, let's do this. Let's get through the applicant, and then let's discuss what you think you need and what you need to proceed. What you don't have to explain to everybody what the issue is. If you ask for something and something's required, we'll put that on the record. But let's proceed with the applicant. What you don't have or what you asked for doesn't really come into play with the applicant, correct?
No, it does not, because the applicant can't do a survey and he can't do a floor plan. You know, I mean, so quite frankly, we could go through the testimony of the applicant, Mr. Westfall, but quite frankly, an application like this for site plan should have a survey and should have some sort of floor plan so I can determine.
I know I shouldn't interject here, Gary, but I am in defense of this board as well as the secretary to this board. On September 24th, it was made very clear that you needed more plans going on as well. You needed to know more information to do a report because you didn't have sufficient enough information. So you asked for architectural plans, and that's all I wanted to state. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I asked for it, and I know that this was provided, but that's why I said, you know, if the application was approved, you know, we're putting the cart before the horse, but if the application was approved, I want to see the floor plans where the mechanic work is being done and that the mechanic work is to code, with Paterson code. I would like to see a survey to see that the dividing line is not part of the bus company, or, you know, so lot 1 is the lot that is in question, and only the lot in question, because there were 2 lots. And they gave a piece to the bus company, but I don't know if that piece was all of lot 2. You know, there should have been a survey, there should have been some sort of floor plans as well.
Let's do this. Mr. Seekis, say your arguments as to completeness. If you have questions of the applicant, ask your questions. Let's get to the applicant.
All right. Mr. Westfall, good evening. How long have you been in business? Oh, you have to unmute yourself, sir.
Sorry about that. Since October 1st, 2009 was a stock purchase.
Prior to 2009, what experience did you have in the waste and sanitation business?
I worked for the 2 brothers who own the company since 2006 and previous companies before that. I worked for them when I was in college, getting my degree at night, driving a truck full time.
I know the feeling. I worked a lot too in college and law school. So how long have you been in business?
So since business or working for the industry?
Working for the waste business.
Too many people are, I'm sorry, if you continue to speak over someone, I will disconnect you. Let them speak, it is a matter of respect at this point. Mute your microphones. Continue.
So just to make your question clear, how long have I been working in the industry or how long have I been in business?
How long have you been working in the industry?
Since 2005.
Have you ever managed a facility larger than the one you're currently at?
No, we have not.
And how many storage sites does your business own?
0.
Okay. And does your business operate any solid waste facilities?
No.
Does it operate a sanitary waste facility classified by the DEP?
No.
And this, you're not asking this board to consider this for a solid waste facility?
Absolutely not.
Would this qualify as a transfer station?
No.
When your business received this license, did you apply to the New Jersey DEP?
Since it was a stock purchase, we were under review, yes.
Okay. And what was that process like?
There was a background check, it was involved with the New Jersey State Police, no criminal background, they consider misdemeanors, anything.
Okay. And the current site is in Northvale, correct?
Norwood.
Good. Did you have to go for any municipal approval, for that site?
The site we're on currently, or the one we were trying to acquire?
The site you were on currently?
No, we did not, because it was an existing business and a stock purchase.
So you just have to
Under the approval, since it was a stock purchase and for Removal Inc., DBA Lipolito Container Service, they got the CO from the town.
Okay.
Which was done previous to my ownership.
Do you plan, if you're granted approval to discontinue Norwood site?
It's undetermined at this time.
So you talked about your operations, and you said that you have two types of businesses, two types of operations mainly. You do containers and you do packers, which are the garbage trucks that serve residential use. Is that correct?
Yes.
What is the size of the vehicles that you currently utilize in your business? The packers.
Is that in weight, volume, or length?
All around, because we don't have those details.
Okay. The rear load collection trucks are mainly uniform. They're Mack cab over rear load collection with 32 cubic yard bodies on it, and they're about 40 feet long.
And how wide are they?
8 feet.
Sorry?
8 feet.
8 feet. And how tall are they?
12 foot 2 to 12 foot 4.
How much do they weigh?
Empty or loaded?
Both.
Okay. The empty tear weight on most vehicles is anywhere from 36,000 to 40,000 pounds, and the loaded capacity is normally 70,000 pounds. On a triaxle vehicle, you're legally in New Jersey around 80,000 pounds.
I understand. Have you done any studies, or have you engaged anyone to do any studies for whether or not the roads could handle that? Wait.
Dean? You have to unmute, Dean.
Yeah, the question of you is, Mr. Westfall, is have we commissioned a study as to the roadway capacity? So obviously.
Well, we wouldn't do it as far as loaded because the trucks are utilizing the facilities that are already in Paterson, so that would, would only be an empty weight study, correct? Because we're not coming into the yard loaded, we're utilizing the area.
I don't know, that's what your testimony is, but as Mr. Paparazzi indicated, there may be an emergency situation that you have a truck fully loaded and you can't put it anywhere. And the transfer station, as you said, is in Paterson. Are you telling us now that there's no way that a full garbage truck will be stored overnight for morning service?
No, I think we have to go back to the conversation Mr. Paparazzi and myself had, where in the event that a solid waste vehicle wouldn't be brought back to the facility loaded.
Where would you bring it?
We'd have to bring it to another designated facility that's approved.
And tell us where they're located.
I don't have one at this time, but we would get an approved facility.
Okay, so you don't have so in other words, if you don't have it approved at the site, you have nowhere else to put it currently if you were granted approval.
No, we would be able to make arrangements. At this time, I just don't have the answer.
I apologize, I jump in. What does that mean, make arrangements? Is that arrangements for that one particular event, or is it arrangement you make so that that's lined up for any time that the emergency would arise?
We would make arrangements wherever the board deemed necessary. Obviously, emergencies do happen, and we had to make a plan for that. We would accommodate it. Whether it's being, if the truck breaks down, being towed to a facility, it does happen daily in the state of New Jersey, where a vehicle breaks down, there's mechanical failures, or anything that happens, where the truck is towed to a repair facility, it's loaded, it's fixed as quick as possible, and it's dumped. There's instances where a truck is inoperable, and the tow truck takes the truck to the disposal facility and empties it out, and then we would bring it back to our yard, if the case may be. If it had a driveline issue or whatnot, we've hired a tow truck. You know, we've been involved in many rollovers on the highway where a truck flips over, and we're involved in the emergency cleanup, where we utilize 24-hour facilities. But if a truck broke down, then the tow truck is able to bring the truck to the transfer facility and dump it out. If it was a major repair, such as an engine failure that could take up to a week in repair, there's other arrangements that can be made.
The problem here, Malaka, is if the transfer station is closed. If the transfer station is closed, and we have one in Lodi, if the transfer station is closed, you have nowhere to bring it, and you're gonna bring a loaded truck someplace.
Okay. It's our testimony and our stipulation that we will never bring a full garbage truck to the property.
But with all due respect, how is the city of Paterson gonna police that? And how are the people in the neighborhood that I represent, that are food businesses, gonna police that? And that's been Mr. Westfall's testimony, not yours, Mr. Sanders. You do redirect,
I restated his testimony.
Well, hold on, so we're clear, and I was just gonna jump in anyway, Mr. Shamos, Mr. Shamos, there'll be if it was approved, there'll be a condition that under no circumstances, whether it be emergency or what have you, will a loaded truck ever come to the site. That would be a condition of approval, correct?
That's correct, and we're talking the packer, right? I think that's what, Michael, is that what you said?
Yeah, the household trash, because in the event of an emergency, if a box needs to be impounded that had construction and demolition debris, it doesn't have any material in it that would affect an odor or smell or a rodent.
So that would be done the next day, but anytime would you ever have a loaded packer?
I think that's redirect. I think it's redirect.
You're right, but if there's gonna be a condition, I wanna just flush it out now. So there will be a condition that under no circumstances, and you could question him as to how he's gonna guarantee it, but I wanna make it clear on the record that there's a condition agreed to, but under no circumstances, whether emergency or not, there'll never be a loaded truck with, household garbage or waste at this location.
In the event we have an emergency, we do everything we can in our control.
I got you. I appreciate that. So we're clear. Whatever you do, whatever you don't do, under no circumstance will there be a truck at this facility with household waste.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And that'd be part of the resolution, and the resolution would be in jeopardy if that wasn't on it.
Yes, absolutely.
Go ahead, Mr. Sheekus.
Mr. Westfall, you also indicated that you do, container storage, correct?
Container storage?
Or you're gonna store containers here, correct?
Empty, roll-off, open-top dumpsters that transport construction and demolition material that are transported by roll-off trucks.
Okay, and in the course of certain demolition, you do recognize that contractors often take out pipes and sewers, correct?
Pipes and sewers?
Yeah.
As far as what?
Construction. You don't do just exclusively bricks or concrete, you take all construction debris.
Yeah, wood, bricks, concrete, stucco, plaster, anything, sheetrock.
Pipes, sewers, toilets, anything, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that would also be kept in these containers overnight potentially if you couldn't get it to the transfer station, or to where you need to dump it.
No, all containers that'll already stored on site will be 100% empty. The only event is if there was an emergency of a roadway obstruction or the police call to come and remove the dumpster, or if there's an event of a crash, we bring in a loaded construction and demolition material.
Mr. Westfall, how can you guarantee to this board and to the objectors who have concerns here, most of which are in food business, that your containers will not contain the remnants of any bacteria or any toxic material? How can you guarantee that?
The dumpsters are emptied out completely at the transfer station.
And how are they cleaned?
How are they cleaned? Sometimes they're scraped with a machine, or we have a device on the truck that can shake it and make sure everything gets out. In the event that any debris is stuck, the driver gets in the facility and sweeps out the container. Because when we go down the road empty, we don't want to get back on the highway. We can't have any loose debris in there, it's a roadway hazard.
And the same with your packers, right?
Like I said before, the packers are a rear load application, and the garbage is compacted, and it has a push-out blade, which is a full eject push-out blade. In the back of the truck, there's a tailgate, and it has a liquid seal, because sometimes, like in an event like today, if it's extremely rainy out, the contents are wet, the garbage cans are wet, we can't spill or leak, under our bylaws with the DEP into the roadways. So when the trucks go and we break loose the turnbuckles at the transfer station, all the water comes out because there's a one-piece seal. When the truck ejects all the trash out of it, the blade comes out of the trough of the body, and then the tailgate has to be swept clean for that rubber seal to make contact, making it watertight, because we cannot spill or leak any liquid. So the transfer stations have all the drains and everything in place to contain all the material. That's why the trucks are emptied 100%, and any other leftover residue has to be swept out or cleaned in the body at the transfer station, because these trucks are a carryover application, and with the new regeneration, the regen systems for the certified clean idle, which many of our trucks have, they run extremely hot. That's why when you regen a truck, you cannot park under any trees or any foliage because it'll catch on fire. That's why it always has to be kept extremely clean, besides the environmental concern. We also have deodorizer, a liquid deodorizer. We have a pellet deodorizer that could be thrown in the bodies, to contain any odor.
But where's that done, sir? Where's the liquid deodorizer and bacteria sprays kept?
We could keep those on site.
So possibly the dumper that you call it, the large truck, the services.
The compaction garbage truck, yes.
The compaction truck could arrive to the site, and then it would be cleaned. That's your testimony on site, correct?
To be cleaned at the transfer station, yes.
But also deodorized on site in Paterson.
As far as the pellets being thrown into a body of a truck, not necessarily cleaned or anything, it's just that it would be an extra measure that's normally not taken care of.
Okay. How can you guarantee that there will not be any presence of any remnant waste or bacteria on the trucks when they leave the transfer station?
As far as bacteria, I cannot testify to that because it's above my knowledge. But like I said, the trucks are swept out at the transfer station and cleaned.
Okay. Can I ask you a question as to studies? We're on the subject of studies. Did you you were interested in this property for obvious economic reasons, correct?
We were interested in this property for many reasons. Logistically where it is, and I believe it covers all bases to be 100% legal in the city of Paterson, as well as be involved in the city of Paterson and having more access to direct labor and workforce.
Okay, sir.
100% paved, it's lit, it's secure, and it has a fence.
Got it. Does the fence currently comply with the town ordinance?
I couldn't contest to that.
Okay, and let me ask you another question. You indicated that you did that this site is particularly well suited. What study did you do about the surrounding area and Bunker Hill location?
We looked at all the other uses that are in the area, as well as Bunker Hill is anything that is west of the railroad, River Road, correct? River Road?
Right.
Okay, so there's a heavy use industrial transfer station on 4th Avenue. United Scrap Metal is over on Wood Street, we've done a study, there's another container company, Atlantic, which is about 100 feet from your client or more, over the railroad tracks that have loaded containers, dump garbage at the end of the street or anything. In that area, there's one loaded garbage truck on Fifth Avenue that's been there. It's a roll-off truck that's covered and loaded for months now. It's been sitting there. We have pictures of that, as well as all other type of uses in that area.
Do you know when those uses were permitted or were first licensed there at that location?
I don't have that information, no.
Do you know whether or not those uses are operated by the railroad companies, and the city does not have jurisdiction over the railroad companies?
Just the transfer station that supersedes because it's a federal law, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, but you're not doing federal, correct?
No, we are not, no. It's not railroad property.
So you have not done independent, how many percent of the businesses in Bunker Hill, to the best of your knowledge, are in the food business?
I don't have the number in front of me.
Okay, how long have you known the Bunker Hill area? When was the first time you visited the site?
Since I utilizing the 2 transfer stations in the area when I first started back in 2009.
Okay, so you just drove by the stations and you drove by the businesses, correct?
No, I was contacted by people in the area to bring our material to Paterson, which we pay a tax on at all facilities.
But you admit that you have done no surveys about the number of food businesses and related businesses in the area,
The
correct?
food business, no, as well as an electronic revival business that's located right on Fifth Avenue that has storage of containers and similar use to ours.
Okay.
Just as well as the property next to United that had all the open top roll-off containers, dilapidated trucks and everything that was just recently cleaned up. It's the same use.
So are they permitted uses?
On those properties, I don't know if they had a CO for it, I couldn't answer that.
You haven't done any investigation on that?
Gina, we have done anything else?
Yeah, first objection, he's not a planner, or anything like that, to opine as to permitted uses.
Well, he's been testifying about this use, and he doesn't even know whether, do you know what a Bunker Hill Special Improvement District is?
Do I?
Yes.
You're speaking to me, right?
Yes.
Limited to my knowledge, yes.
Okay, but do you know how the city classified this particular area as a special improvement district?
Let's save these questions for the appropriate witness. Let testify to the use in his application.
All right. So you also indicated that you're currently servicing 3 towns, Westwood, Montville, and Oradell, correct?
Yes.
All in Bergen County.
Yes, in the state of New Jersey, correct, yes.
Okay. And you also plan on growing on this site, correct?
Absolutely. Yes. I want to more jobs and bring more employees to the site, yes.
So you plan on adding more trucks and more roll-ups?
If the application fits and there's any bids that come across, any contracts that come across our desk that fit into our portfolio, absolutely, yes.
And you also plan on repairing vehicles inside the building, correct?
Yes, in compliance with the city of Paterson and all the regulations, absolutely.
And again, you don't know if the building is currently complied or has permission to serve as a repair facility for trucks.
I know we're fixing trucks there now. As far as the compliance, I couldn't answer that. I currently do not occupy the building, nor do I own it. But we'll do everything in our power to make sure we're 100% compliant, as well as keeping our employees safe and up to the best of our abilities.
Okay. Do you know if this building is currently located in a flood zone?
I believe part of it is.
Have you obtained, or have you or your company obtained approval by the DEP for expansion into the flood zone?
Dean, is that necessary?
Yeah, I would object, because one, we don't propose any expansion.
I'm just asking, did you obtain the DEP approval, because he's the company owner, to operate in a flood zone?
I don't think we need approval to operate. It's if we do anything to the property with the DEP's jurisdiction relative to the flood zone.
So the applicant can answer that he has not done it, nor does he think he has to do it. And that would be the answer.
Okay. Is that the answer, Mr. Westphal?
Yes, Mr. Seegas, that is correct.
Thank you, sir. Now, you indicated that Classic Towing, tows trucks, correct?
Yes, correct.
How would you know that?
In our due diligence period, before we got into the contract, we were able to review the records.
Okay, approximately how many trucks, garbage trucks and containers have they towed to the site?
I don't know exactly. I know what they operate, how many cars per year they pick up, and how many tow trucks come out of the yard.
Isn't that predominantly a car and auto storage?
We open to anything.
But you have no knowledge of the operation of Classic Towing, other than the records you saw?
In the review of, in our due diligence period, yes, I do.
Do you know if they have other sites?
Excuse me?
Do you know if they have other sites?
I'm only in contact with this site that we're talking about here.
Okay, so you don't know if they store the trucks at other locations that they may have contracts with or own?
I'm sure that they do, absolutely. I just, I'm only informed about the property we're talking about now.
Okay, and you don't have any records to show that they store trucks or containers there, correct?
Just reviewed by the pictures that we have.
Well, you're testifying you're saying your pictures that they store trucks and garbage trucks on the site.
No, I never said they have pictures on it currently, but they're permitted to tow a loaded garbage truck back to their facility, and I don't believe there's any limit on how many trucks they can tow back there loaded.
But you don't know if any records of any garbage trucks being towed there?
I don't have those details, no.
And your trucks have not been towed there?
No, they have not, no. My truck's trying to make it, we do the best we can of our ability to get our trucks to the dump and empty out every day.
So how many containers do you own?
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
Does Westwall Waste Management own?
We're talking about open top steel containers or rear loaded garbage truck? Yeah, open top rear loaded containers about 600.
600. And you plan on storing the empties on the site, correct?
Only the empties, most of them are in circulation, we get used in, and we also have a secondary container storage yard. That's another one that I'll utilize in the winter months, which is a community park.
Where is that, sir?
One container yard is located in Hackensack and the other one is in North Bergen.
Okay, so your testimony is that you own approximately 600 containers. How many containers may you have during the heavy winter months when construction comes to a stall? How many containers would you store?
It's not so much how many during the winter months or any months. It could be an economic downturn or anything. Sometimes in the winter months, we have less containers because projects are stalled, they're not turning over as frequently. But, for the most part, we have a good handle of our business. If I had to guess right now, there's less than 8 containers in any of our storage yards currently.
You indicated about pest control. You currently have them come once a month in Northville, correct?
Yes, they do.
And the Northville site is a wooded site with no streams and no rivers next to it, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And we do not have an issue there currently, nor have we received one complaint. It's not so much a wooded site, it's along the railroad track, so I would say that it's subject to having the pests there, but we just don't have the issue.
I'm going to ask you testified during direct that you had no DEP enforcement actions issued to Westfall.
I never stated that.
Okay. But you have had past violations issued by the DEP.
Absolutely.
And you've approximately how many?
Depending on the violation, but they're all what they call NOV, which is a notice of violation, most likely from county agencies as far as a loose flow or a damaged container or missing a NJDEP number or there was some instances when I first bought the company, there was a learning curve where I had to have both registration numbers on both sides of the dumpsters, and the company I bought it from didn't have that. And I kept getting NOVs, which I got educated on real fast, and that's why I've gotten so much into the business and studied the law as much as possible to avoid these times.
Okay, so you're not just October 20, 2017, the DEP issued a fine, a violation for failing to properly mark each solid waste vehicle, specifically transporters, and only to display decals.
Yes, absolutely. It's a minor violation, yes.
And then you also, in 15, you also got a violation for failing to properly mark each solid waste vehicle, transporter vehicles, and failed to display the names of the company on the trucks.
Yes, because it was a TDA, correct, yes, it was a learning curve.
I don't want to go through the rest of it, because you did admit that you have violations.
Yes, but you stated before that I swore a testimony that I didn't have any.
I said before, I apologize. I apologize.
I just want to be clear for the record, so we're on the same page.
Okay, I'm sure your lawyer will take care of that, I'm sure. Miss Margarita Aveda, I'd like to put some pictures up, and share them with the board if that's possible.
Mr. Rocca?
Yeah, well, hold on one moment. Council, before you do that, we have to give our court reporter a break. Let's give her a 5-minute break, and then, you can start getting those cleared up.
I apologize, of course.
No, that's it. Thank you, see
Well,
everybody.
please note the time is 9:40. We will, complete this meeting at 10. Thank you.
Dean, you gotta mute.
we have everybody back?
Now is here.
I'm Linda, you back?
Have Maggie,
I'm
have Maggie do a roll call for the commissioners, I was.
Martin, you back?
We'll do a roll call.
Patty? We'll be right back on.
I'm back, Commissioners.
Matt, you can just do a quick roll.
Yes, sir, one moment, please. Commissioners. Commissioner Dumas, are you there, ma'am? Commissioner Furman, are you present, sir?
Yes, Madam Secretary, I'm here.
Commissioner Hodges, are you present?
I'm present.
Commissioner Levine, are you present?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Commissioner Rinaldo, are you present?
I'm present, Maggie.
Thank you. Commissioner Roheen, are you present?
Yes, Maggie, I'm here.
Thank you. Commissioner Watkins?
Present.
Vice Chairman Dumas, are you present? Vice Chairwoman, I'm sorry. And Chairman Daxon, are you present? Chairman Daxon? We'll give them a moment, please. And Melinda, are you present?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very... Chairman Daxon, are you there? Vice Chairwoman Dumas, are you there? All right, let me get them back on with IT staff. Give me one moment, please. Thank you. this is, your secretary, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Vice Chairwoman, Dumas, are you there? Can you unmute yourself, *6, please? Commissioner Dumas, *6. Commissioner Dumas, *6 on your cell phone will unmute you. Okay, we're going to have her reconnect, 30 seconds, please. If you'd like to proceed, Chairman, that's fine. It's up to you, sir.
Maggie, we're gonna hear from the public and then, we'll close this meeting out. I need a date.
Yes, sir. Mr. LaRocca, would you like to open this to the public for any testimony given?
I'm not completed yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, sir. Mr. Chairman Thaxton.
I just have a few more questions.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and thank you, Ms. Baker. Mr. Westfall, I just want to get clarified on the cleaning issue. I'll be really brief. My concern is, I just want to hear that the vehicles are not washed and sanitized at the transfer stations when they dump, either containers or the packers. Is that correct?
As far as sanitized as to what? They're not, you know, you have to be a little more specific for me. I want to make sure we're both on the same, with understanding. So we have two different applications, which are the open top roll-off containers that hold construction and demolition debris, which is concrete, garbage, brick, dirt, construction and demolition material, wood, plaster, sheetrock. Most of that stuff gets dumped at the transfer station, shaken out, and the dumpster is clean. If anything is stuck inside the container, it is removed physically by the driver or labor inside the transfer station.
I didn't ask you that. I just want to ask you, do they get washed there?
No, absolutely not, because no vehicle at that transfer station gets washed.
Okay. Do you do washing and cleaning, further cleaning when they come back to the yard?
As far as what, like washing it or cleaning the actual body inside the truck?
Yes, correct.
So like working on the truck and cleaning it, like the metal and the wheels and the tires, or you're talking about the actual
The interior cab of the containers.
No, we did not go further deeper. You know, it's already clean from the dump. You don't have to go in more.
I understand that. And then the packers, how do you clean them?
The same it's done at the transfer station.
And there's no further cleaning on a daily basis of the packers beyond what's done at the transfer station you testified to?
No, like I said, the only thing that could be is if it was stipulation to the board, is if you want us to have an odor control or anything like that, because there's no reason to clean it further. It's already been cleaned at the transfer station.
I respect your opinion. Let me get to traffic. Mr. Westfall, how many typical loads does Westfall move out of this location a day? Let's start with containers.
I have which location? The surrounding northern New Jersey area?
The location in Paterson. How many trips would be generated by the vehicles of your company on each daily basis?
Well, we discussed the rear loading garbage trucks would leave once daily, collect their route, dump in Paterson, and return back to the facility where they would park for the evening. The roll-off trucks leave also in the morning, perform their duties. There will be an occasion where the trucker would return with an empty container and then go back out on the route. Once the trucks leave the facility, they normally work off of the street, picking up a size dumpster, different materials, going to different transfer stations and delivering to additional customers. That's how we run such an efficient, profitable business, by going from not deadheading back to our yard. That would have made us a profitable company. We also have a secondary storage facility that we utilize for a container yard.
So how many trips, I'm talking about numbers, would be run containers in and containers out on any single day? Give me the maximum.
will be minimum of one trip leaving and one returning, as well as another a couple of roll-offs, 11 roll-off trucks returning, numerous times a day if possible.
Numerous times a day. How many times do the roll-offs return each day?
It would leave a minimum of one, which is 11 each, and then return a minimum of once, that's 22. And then if the container came back, the difference of 8 times between all vehicles would be a lot, depending on our routes and the volume of work we have for that day. But as I said, we try and utilize our business to run as efficiently as possible. We'll even,
I don't think you understand my questions. I'm trying to figure out from a traffic perspective, how many trips you make a day. I'm not arguing about your operations. I'm sure you run a good operation, you've grown, and I'm sure you're gonna grow further, and that's why you picked this location. But the question for the board and for my experts is, how many trips do you make in and out a day? Because there's other people, like the person I represent across the street, Nutty Natural, he's running a business too. And he wants to know, and he's concerned about trucks leaving the yard, coming in, coming out. So we're trying to get that number.
Mr. Zegas, and I respectfully understand your question, but at the minimum, we have 22 plus the 4 or 5 garbage trucks that go out during the day, so you're up to 30 trips already. I cannot give you an average answer of how many times that roll-up truck could come back to drop an empty container and go back out and perform his duties. Like I said, it's my goal as a business owner to come back to my yard as infrequent as possible, so there's no way for me to give you that answer. In my best knowledge, it would be only he leaves in the morning and comes back at the end of the day, at 22. But there's instances where I don't have a place for a dumpster to go. I look on the day's tomorrow's schedule and say, hey, you ordered this dumpster, do you want it? Just to improve my
Commissioner Dumas, are you there, ma'am?
Maggie, let him finish his answer.
Commissioner Dumas?
Maggie, let him finish his
Let's go
answer.
in the back, Marco. I don't hear you, Marco. Unmute yourself. I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
So if that answer is sufficient, it's minimum 30 trips a day.
Okay, 30 trips, but it could be as high as 50.
I don't see that happening, no.
Okay, and then you also have cars coming in and out of that lot, correct?
Yes, the employee vehicles, correct, yes.
And how many, up to 35 at full capacity without COVID?
At full capacity, but no, not regularly, no.
But assuming you grow and you add vehicles and you add roll-offs, you could have potentially 50 or 60 employees.
We would grow in accordance with the city guidelines and whatever deemed is.
Commissioner Dumas, can you hear me?
Maggie,
I need you to unmute yourself. You are muted. You are on the line, but you are not.
Maggie, he's in the middle of testimony.
Okay.
All right, sir, I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Whistle, so your plans are in growing this company, that's correct?
Yes, growing this company within the limits and boundaries that we have at this facility.
But you don't know those limits and boundaries, do you? Because you don't have any architectural plans.
Upon my knowledge, no, we do not.
Everything's fine. I apologize. Please continue.
Go ahead, sir.
I think we need to, I agree, and we do need to clarify what spaces of it. Hello?
Okay, yes.
Okay, sorry.
All right, let me show you a picture. I'm gonna try to share a picture with you, and the board, if it's possible. Okay, do you see these 2 pictures on the screen?
No, I do not.
There's no pictures on the screen, Mr. Zegas.
Okay, I'm trying to get them to share. Let me see. Do you see the pictures now?
Yes, absolutely.
Before you, budget outlay foundation, we mark these photos as, objectors exhibit 101.
Okay. Mr. Westfall, I stipulate for you that these pictures were taken this past Saturday by Peter Steck, one of my experts, and he submitted these pictures in accordance with the request of your attorney, Solaka, and they have been provided to your attorney.
Yes,
He has represented that this is currently your site at North Norwood. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do these pictures fairly accurately represent the pictures of your trucks in the first photo and a container in the bottom photo?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And can you look at the truck? There is a container that appears a truck with apparently a load that is on this truck, with
Yes.
a green top.
I agree with
And the
that.
blow up is in the picture below, correct?
Yes.
And how long has this been stored on site?
It looks like it was picked up that day. I couldn't, I'd have to look at the records.
And how long was it stored there at the Norwood site? Couple days or hours or?
I'd have to look at my records, but it looks like it was more, if it was on Saturday, at whatever time, it was done Monday morning. But it also looks like a load of vegetative waste and not construction and demolition debris.
Okay, so you do other stuff, you do vegetative waste as well?
Oh, in our DEP permit, yeah, we do construction, vegetative waste, stumps, leaves, recycling materials, all kinds of different streams that are in the waste stream.
So it's not just construction, okay. And then, what's the issue with the fence at the back of the property? It looks like it's collapsing.
Yeah, that's the property owner, and this is why I'm trying to obtain this other site, because I've clearly outgrown this, and we're, obviously you can see by the trucks, we're on top of each other, and being closer to the transfer station is gonna streamline my operation and hours of operation. This way we work a normal 6 to 4 schedule, the truck makes it, gets into the dump, and we're finished for the day. Where I am in Norwood, this isn't helping me out at all.
Got it. Okay, I'll stop sharing the picture. At this time, I have no further questions, but reserve my right, because I know that the chairman wants to put the public on, to ask further questions should I review the plans of this witness, so Mr. Stamos can recall if I need to ask him some additional questions.
Mr. Chairman, can I open it up to the public?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Members of the public, you will have the opportunity to ask the applicant questions with regard to his testimony. Now is not the time to give any statements, any comments about the application or your concerns. You will have that opportunity at a later time. If you have any specific questions as to his testimony, what he just testified to, please call 711-680, I apologize. You're gonna call 973-321-1579. Again, the phone number is 973-321-1579. And when prompted, you're gonna enter the meeting ID number of 711-680-0001. Once again, the meeting ID number is 711-680-0001. We're gonna give it a few moments, see if anybody calls. But again, you would call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID 711-680-0001. I know
I apologize, Mr. LaRocca, it is, the last numbers are not 3 zeros, it is 001. All my apologies.
So, to members of the public, same phone number, 973-321-1579, and the meeting ID number is 711-680-0001. 711-680-0001. Thank you. Let's give it a few moments, see if anybody calls.
I'd like to apologize to the public and the commissioners about the ID number. As you well know, with COVID, it's changing, and I don't get information till sometimes the end of the day. But it is what it is, so with all my apologies, as the secretary of this board, just accept it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. We will give it another minute or so, but at this moment, we have no callers, Mr. LaRocca.
We'll give it another moment, and then we'll discuss a new date, and we'll discuss plans.
I think the ID for the meeting was the wrong meeting ID. I'm sorry, my associate was paying attention. I'm looking at the notices. So the meeting ID was incorrect. I
The meeting
apologize.
ID,
No, it changed this evening. It's,
Oh,
it's,
okay,
yeah, it's
For
different than
the
what's
public,
okay, thank
to the
you.
public, but recall that we have an IT staff here, so any callers that do call in the previous number, we're giving them the new ID number for the meeting. But when people are on the actual meeting site as the professionals, that number is absolutely different. But this number has changed today, and we will continue to brief the public and the commissioners of the new ID numbers if anything changes. Thank you.
Listen, it doesn't appear that anybody's gonna call, but while we're waiting to see if anybody calls, let's discuss a new date. Mr. Stamos, are you seeking another special?
Well, I think from our discussions, a regular meeting would be, pretty far out, right? Is that what, I believe what I was told?
If I can have a moment to pull my records out. We are meeting in April. We're actually starting May 13th, if you want a meeting.
No,
If I can express something, I do already have some meetings, for January, but I am willing, and discussing it with this board and my chairman Thaxton, January 21st, 2021, at 7:30 p.m. That is what I have. If not, it will turn into February.
well, so if, obviously we certainly would like a more expedited schedule, but we certainly appreciate that you have the holidays and this board is, working hard in accommodating special meetings. Especially if you're going out till April and May on a regular session, so, if it has to be that day, obviously I know my client and the seller won't be happy, but if that's the earliest date, we'll take it because we also have time to, submit the possible, the architectural drawings,
This
plans.
date, I would love to change it to any other date, but also understand that we're coming into the holiday. We do not have the end of the December.
Yeah, listen, that's fine. But it's January 21st, 90.
That is the date at 7:30 p.m., 2021.
We're gonna put that on the record when we finish with the objectors in a moment. Before we do that, and before we check one last time any objectors, Mr. Paparosi, please clearly state what needs to be provided to you prior to the next meeting. When I say prior to the next meeting, it's not to be, pursuant to the statutes and dates, so the bulk out, I would ask that you submit a courtesy copy right to Mr. Seekis, just to expedite and make this, more efficient of a process. Mr. Paparosi, what do you require?
Well, Mr. Stamos, you have Anthony Kuros from Neglia Engineering, which is probably one of the best, including Costa Engineering. And if you ask him, I'm sure he's going to say he would need a survey if he was reviewing this plan to show the link.
Do you need a survey, Mr. Paparosi?
Yeah, well, we don't have one. We have one of lot 1 and 2. Yeah.
So just say what you need. You need a
Okay.
survey.
All right, I would need some floor plans to show what the parking analysis is on your building. Office space, mechanic space. And in that mechanic space, you would need to show, according to code, the flammables and the fact that everything is done indoors. And now, I know you had mentioned that there's lighting there and there's drainage, but one, I don't know if the drainage is clogged or working. Two, I don't know if the lighting spills over onto other properties or not. So I'm sure Mr. Kuros would ask to see that, and and quite frankly, that would be a site plan that that would be complete. Now, everything is not the same because, first of all, what was there before was in violation of probably every code in Paterson. That's number one. Number two, I don't know what they were doing. And you can't grandfather in illegal activity, no matter how long they were doing it.
So just tell them what they need to give you. They're gonna give you what you need to give. Don't worry about that.
All right, the architectural showing the floor area and the survey.
Alright, so, Mr. Stamos, have that law in advance, provide that to Mr. Seekis, have it in so that if any members of the public want to see it, they can see it. Mr. Seekis, any issues with that date that you want to address? The January date.
I have some conflicts, we're gonna do our best, but he still has 2 more witnesses to put through. So we're gonna do our best. I just circulated the date now, and, provided that we can get through. Again, I don't know if we're gonna get through one meeting, but we'll do our best.
Alright, and Madam Secretary, I'm assuming nobody called in?
No calls at this time. Thank you.
Do me a favor, Maggie, place the special date and time on the record. And she said January 21st, correct?
Yes.
The meeting of Unsold Waste Services, 20/34 Shady Street, Block 1801, Lot 1, to use a 2-story building and paved lot to store waste management trucks and containers. The district they are asking to service and repair trucks is for use both in site plan and will be carried to, and this is a date, January. One moment. I apologize, but I put my book and I cannot find it. One moment. January 21st, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
To the members of the public, the next meeting for this application is January 21st, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Please be advised that the applicant will not be sending you another notice. This is your notice for that meeting, January 21st, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
Does the attorney waive all statutory time requirements on this application?
You're muted, Mr. Stanley.
Yeah, we certainly extend the time period, we'll call it to the end of January to cover that meeting. And then certainly if there's more time, we'll cooperate, but just for the record for now.
We have no further business from the Board of Adjustment this evening. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman Daxton.
Evening, John.
Nice evening, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.